This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It's Wednesday, February 19th. I'm here with Al down there. Stephanie, I'm Jeff. Brandon and Erica are both on some exciting projects. But if you guys don't know, that's Al Fashion Jackson down there from our daytime
so
show.
glad that you're here.
Dude, it's been forever. I feel like I'm back in my old high school. I love it. It's great.
Well, welcome back, buddy. Let's have
Thank you,
some
bro.
fun.
Let's do it.
All right, right after this one, maybe, because we got to start with some hard Hollywood news first. The man accused of throwing Drew Carey's ex-girlfriend off a balcony, well, guess what? He is already out of jail. Her ex-boyfriend, Gareth Pursehouse, posted bail, which was set at $2 million. Last May, he joked on Instagram about a Game of Thrones scene. Steph, you haven't seen this yet, where a character is pushed out of a window. You remember that scene?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Watch this.
Okay, Game of Thrones, first season. The brother and the sister are up in the castle, and then the kid sees him through the window, and the brother has to go and throw the kid off and to kill him. And even though it's evil, I feel kind of bad for the brother, because even though he doesn't want to do it, his sister insisted.
That was really creepy.
Yeah, and that was months before. And
Yeah.
then this just happened. Now he's already out of jail on a $2 million bond, so he paid 10%, $200,000 he had to come up with.
Yes, I'm like, who first of all gave him that money? Or maybe he had it himself. But first of all, that's really concerning to say that obviously there was a witness. Her roommate, flatmate actually fled the scene, which is obviously how they knew, or allegedly, that it was this gentleman. But what I find really weird is his kind of smirk when he's talking about this. And we've got to remember, I don't know exactly the year that Game of Thrones originally came out, but that was in the first season.
Right.
And she's been actually trying to get him, what's the right word I'm looking for now? Put a ban against him coming anywhere near her life. I can't remember the exact term now.
Restraining order.
Yeah.
Since 2011 and 2012. So, I mean, I just find this really
And I believe that restraining order had just expired maybe 2 weeks before, I believe.
Yeah, it was a matter of
And Steph, I
days.
think we're missing the bigger point that he's out of jail.
Right.
Yeah.
How about no bond? There's no discussion. I mean, I think this is where like our courts are failing us. It makes me think, Jeff, I'm sorry to say this, money has to be an issue here. It has to be a factor.
How could it not?
Yeah, of course.
But, I mean,
So if you pay, you can just kill somebody and then go to Dave and
Yeah,
Buster's?
peace out. I'm
there's
gone.
a witness on the scene.
A witness on the scene that
that
fled.
points out, but
Yeah.
you're allowed to get out and what, collect your thoughts? Like, I don't understand
What do
how
you
our
do?
system works.
I think we do understand, Jeff. It's money. Money affects everything. It affects politics. It affects everything. And until we deal with that, until we're honest about it, we're going to keep going. I don't get what happened. We know what happened here. He was able to come up with $200,000, and people were like, "Hell, we'll drive you home." That's what
I
happened.
think at any point that you're literally in prison for attempted murder, that simply should not even be
You
a
should
question.
forego.
Yeah,
bail.
of course.
Just imagine you're arranging funeral situations for your daughter, and this guy's out right now.
Right.
Think about how that must feel for her parents and her family.
Horrendous.
Devastating.
All right, guys, an update 2. This is for you also, Steph. The Megxit scandal could put a dent in Harry and Meghan's plans. Uh-oh. Queen Elizabeth has reportedly banned them from using the Sussex Royal brand. Remember, we told you that they wanted to trademark things and slap their names on all kinds of products. So has Granny gotten her revenge? That's in the prompter. I wasn't making fun of your queen.
No, so when I first read this story earlier today, I was really annoyed because I was thinking, seriously, like what else? That Meghan and Harry have had their name trawled through the press. It's been horrendous. They finally make a decision on what they're going to do. They've spoken to the royal family. What we need to remember is as well, this isn't an overnight decision. This isn't like, peace out, I don't want to be a royal no more. These conversations were going on for months and months and months, way before any of us mere mortals knew about it. So what annoys me a little bit here is that obviously Harry and Meghan have come up with the name of Sussex Royal, which is what they've trademarked. I'm talking not just 1 or 2 products, not just like pens and pencils, pajamas, everything you can possibly imagine, because that was going to be their brand, right?
Right.
So at the start, I was really frustrated, and I was thinking, surely someone
There's their
in
logo.
the royal family, that's actually a H and an M together.
Yeah,
It's really
Harry and
cute.
Meghan.
So someone in the royal family must have known about this before they've turned around and said, no, you can't do that. Now, it isn't actually the Queen that's saying no. This is actually going to a law of the actual land. the land of England. So it's got nothing actually to do with the Queen. So so the Queen is governed, I'm reading this to make sure I'm saying it right because it's quite technical. So the Queen is governed by several pieces of legislation, and there's a Trademark Act that came out in 1994, and basically that trademark means that they're just not entitled to use that name. But I just don't understand how they didn't get that legal advice before they went and spent literally tens of thousands of pounds or dollars on this.
I'm sorry, I just, the whole time you were talking, all I could see is like somebody like opening a scroll and reading it for the Queen, and it just says, peace out, I don't want to be a royal no more. That would be the great, just like somebody to just hear I don't want to be a royal no more. Like that's the way you leave.
I solemnly declare I peace out of this hair roll.
So that's it, they can't profit off of this at all?
So they're going to have to change the name. They're going to have to come up with something that isn't basically including the name. No, royal is the problem.
Oh.
So in England, we do have this kind of like a stamp of approval from the Queen, and it's when companies have been supplying the royals with a certain product that's high-end for many, many years, and then they get this stamp of approval. So basically, all these other companies are coming forward being like, well, they can just use the name and have a royal stamp, and they've not actually done anything. So it's like become a whole bigger thing.
Very complicated.
It's very complicated. Yeah. All that matters is they're not allowed to use the name, and I think it's an outright mess. Why not? He's still a royal. He's still in line for the throne. He's just not doing his duties no more.
But you forgot, he said, peace out. I don't want to be royal.
But he still is.
Sideways peace out at that.
All right, we're going to move on, guys, to this next story. Steven Spielberg's daughter is going into the film industry. Did you guys know that?
I did not.
Well, she's
following in Dad's footsteps?
Well, not exactly. She's going into the adult film industry, that is. Michaela is 23 years old and is starring in her own solo videos. She reportedly told The Sun that she broke the news to her parents over the weekend. Now, Michaela lives in Nashville and says she also wants to be an exotic dancer. So is this, let me tiptoe here and phrase this right. Is this...
Say it, yeah.
I know
you want to get the right words, yeah.
But you know, I'm trying to catch up with the women, strong women of. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I see what you're saying.
For me, if I had a daughter, I would not think this is a great thing.
I do have a daughter, and Jeff,
in a positive way.
I appreciate you at least seeing both sides of it, because there is, you know, we're past the day and age of slut shaming, of sex shaming, whatever you want to do, of working as a sex worker, which I don't feel is a slur. If you want to do that and you're of sound mind and body, have at it, if that's your calling. But as a person that does have a daughter, would I be super pumped for that news? Absolutely not. And I'll tell you why. It's not so much about that industry. It's first of all about the permanency of that decision, because that's on the internet forever.
Oh, yeah.
But more than that, that lifestyle has a lot of things around it, a lot of vice around that lifestyle, and I would be very worried for my daughter. So that's it. I wouldn't be super pumped. Trying to stop her, we know that's not going to work. So you do try and empower her to make the right decisions, but I would be hurt and I would question how I raise my daughter. That's personal.
I think in this situation, I mean, we don't know what Steven has said, Steven Spielberg, her adopted father. We know that he's saying apparently that he's supportive of this. Maybe he is. I just worry about her a little bit, given some of the information. Obviously, I don't know this girl personally, but I worry about her and some of her decisions based on some of the things that we do know. So she has said she suffered from alcoholism. She has said she suffered from eating disorders. She is dating a gentleman that's considerably older than her, over double her age. So I'm just looking at a few. There seems to be a bit of a pattern of maybe a little bit of a cry for help. I'm not sure. I don't know. I just feel for her, and she's also said that, you know, she's not going to go into the adult industry to perform with another male or female partner. These are videos that she's making apparently at home on her own. So I mean,
but do you think that's almost a stepping stone? Listen, I'm trying to be as supportive as I can, but it just doesn't work for me. You know what I mean? There's too many signs. There's too many negatives with that industry. You know, most people do that to get out of whatever situation they're in. Right. And she's in a great situation, blessed by God, in some sense, people may say.
She was saying, though, that she doesn't want to rely on her father. She doesn't want to rely on anyone else. And apparently, it makes her feel very empowered, and that's what she wants to do. And if that is the truth, then obviously good for her. But if we're all being realistic and honest, if that was my sister, if that was my best friend, if that was your children, let's be honest, I don't think we would want that for them.
Right. Hey, I think you said it well. I skated over that one as I bumped over it. DBL is live, and coming up, NBA legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar shares his take on the controversial coverage of Kobe Bryant's death. Don't miss Lindsey Granger's interview a little bit later. My boy Justin Bieber has a new song with a country twist. Is it weird or an instant hit? I'm going with an instant hit. Stephanie fills us in next on What Up Wednesday.
This February, ask the one you love to be mine and get away to a Sandals Resorts luxury-included Caribbean vacation. Watch Daily Blast Live every day for a word of the day. Then enter at dailyblastlive.com/sandals for your chance to win a 4-day, 3-night romantic escape for two. The winner will be announced on DBL February 26th. What better way to say, be mine?
All right, so we were just talking about Steven Spielberg's daughter. Listen, I'm trying to do better myself as in not jumping to conclusions right away. But if I hadn't, I would say this is insane to do that. You know what I mean? If I had any of my friends, especially my daughter, if this was the take that she was having, I would want to get them into therapy. That's my personal point of view. That's exactly what I would try to do.
My question is, at 23,
how much control do you have? Right?
It seems like she was adopted. My sister was adopted. Shout out to all the adopted kids and all the adoptive parents. But it seems like she's had some issues. I think she struggled with anorexia, if I read that correctly. And there's been some other issues, mental health issues that she struggled with. So I'm assuming Steven Spielberg, being a man of considerable means, that they've probably gone down the therapy route.
I'm sure.
So it's like, you know, as hard as it is, Jeff, and I think every parent has to do this, whether it's for a good thing or bad thing, sometimes you have to let your kids go out into the world. And it's going to kill me when
See how we're both like kind of pausing and stuttering?
Yeah, but I mean, even if my kids were leaving to go be a doctor in Europe, I would fall apart. I don't want my kids to leave, much less to go do this.
But it's also, it comes with the name Steven Spielberg. So it's not just like, hey, you're going to go out and do something stupid and you might regret it the rest of your life. This is going to be everywhere and get a lot of views because of who her dad is.
Right, and just like the permanency of the internet. Just, when you're 45 years old, somebody's going to send you a clip. Remember this? And it's just, it's sad, it's not fair, it's judgmental, it is shaming, but it doesn't mean that won't affect her. And it's just like, you know, for somebody that does have mental health issues, going into an industry like that makes it even more
I would think so. I would think so. It's not a road I would want anyone I know to go down, but hey, who am I, right? All right, so Steph's going to cheer us up with What Up Wednesday.
Yes.
Let's get into it. So, Al, what we do on What Up Wednesday now, during the day we're not allowed to speak. At night, we hoot and holler it out.
Yes. All right, finally.
It's a silent talk show.
Okay.
Oh, but you would like try something.
Welcome back to DBL. Are you lot ready for some hot takes about juicy celebrity gossip? Well, you're in luck because it's time for What Up Wednesday. Our first stop is sunny LA, where temperatures took to be icy cold between exes Gwen Stefani and Gavin Rossdale. This photo of the two of them was taken at their son's soccer game, and it looks like they could not be further away from one another. Could it possibly be because Gwen's country beau Blake Shelton tagged along too? Yep, that's him sitting there with Gwen. I mean, awkward. Here's what's up. I mean, what do the paparazzi even want? Them running around, hugging each other? Yes, they made babies, but the love is dead. So don't forget, Gwen says Gavin cheated on her with the nanny. She's moved on, so have I. Next. My next story is in my neck of the woods in London. Last night it was the Brit Awards, which are the UK version of the Grammys, and the stars, some of their outfits, well, they stood out a little more than others. Like Lizzo, looking sweet enough to eat in her chocolate bar dress. I mean, it gives a whole different meaning to the word hot chocolate, doesn't it, eh? And then there was Billie Eilish, literally drowning in Burberry. I mean, I'm all for Billie Eilish and I'm all for designer duds, but this shapeless beige outfit is exactly that, a dud. And then there's Harry Styles looking like a little ray of sunshine in this yellow suit, but he was smiling when Lizzo stole his drink later that night. Let's have a little look.
That is literally neat tequila. He has gone off the rails. Okay, join us after the break. Seriously, Lizzo, that's neat tequila. Oh my God! Yes! Oh, yeah!
Here's what's up. What an unlikely pair of besties, but I'm here for Harry and Lizzo. This is the famous friendship that we all need. Plus, I've got a fantastic nickname for them. Are you ready for it? Hizzo! Yeah?
I like it.
Ouch! Alright, you didn't like my nickname, whatever, but maybe you'll like Justin Bieber's new remix. Right, so you know his hit song Yummy, right? The one that goes, yummy, 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 yummy. You get the idea. Well, he's dropped a country remix today with Florida Georgia Line. I mean, Jeff, you've got to hear it.
Bonafide.
Bless your pea-picking heart there, Justin. No one can do a better country accent than me, can y'all? No?
Wow.
What do you reckon of it, Jeff?
Well, I didn't know I was coming on camera so quick. I just put a mint in my mouth. But anyways.
What did I just tell you, Jeff? Steph, I'm telling you, I was like, that's going to be a hit.
I don't think so. I think he would be offending some
Phony
people.
country accent? I mean, I know I'm bad, but Jesus, that takes it to a whole other level.
I think Old Town Road created a new model,
But
a new
he's not-
blending.
Listen,
He's being like sarcastic.
he's not being sarcastic. He's trying to make a bit of moolah, and he's going to be making off with that.
Listen, I love Biebs. I'm telling you, people are going to get offended. Steph, let me hear your best country accent.
Gee, thanks there, Jeff. What do you think about it? I'm trying real hard to make me sound real country-like.
That wasn't terrible. That wasn't bad.
Good. I like that. I think we're going to end on that one. Great job as always, Steph. We'll be right back,
Thanks
y'all.
there, Jeff. And DBL, we'll be right back, y'all.
It's on.
When we heard the news that Boy Scouts of America filed for bankruptcy, we had a lot of questions. How does bankruptcy work, and what does this mean for Boy Scouts? Let's connect the dots. Here's some backstory. The 110-year-old group is facing hundreds of sex abuse lawsuits. It has a list of more than 7,800 leaders who it suspects abused boys. And this week, the BSA filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. A Chapter 11 bankruptcy allows the federal court to help a business restructure its debts and assets. Through this claim, the organization could have to sell some of its property holdings to raise money to compensate the victims. However, the Boy Scouts didn't file this claim because it's out of money. It filed for protection. The Boy Scouts hope insurance can help out and protect it from losing a serious amount of money. And this filing puts the lawsuits on hold. If you or someone you know is involved in the group, they can still scout. That means meetings, banquets, service projects, and campouts. Those are still on. The important thing to know, this is all happening at the national level. Local scout groups are not filing for bankruptcy. It's also important to note, 90% of these abuse claims happened nearly 30 or more years ago. You can make a difference. To help, report an incident to 1-844-SCOUTS-1. And that's connecting the dots.
I think America is a place of optimism. You had to be an optimist to think that we could defeat one of the world's great powers and gain our independence. We would never have been able to win the Revolutionary War if it were not for the contributions of African Americans and Native Americans. And that wasn't always something that was pointed out in the history books that I had to deal with in the 50s and 60s. So I wanted to change that dynamic, and I think that that's what this should be about.
Welcome back to DBL. That clip was from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's new documentary, Black Patriots, Heroes of the Revolution. Lindsey Granger talked with him about it and got his take on Kobe Bryant's legacy in tonight's Chatting with the Stars.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I'm so honored to be speaking with you. I'm a huge fan. I want to start with Kobe Bryant because you know his memorial is next week and we're all still mourning the loss of him. His daughter and others that were lost on that day. How are you handling Kobe's passing and how has it impacted you personally?
Well, for me personally, it's it's a great shock. That's not something that you expect to hear. A man, he's only 41 years old, had his whole life ahead of him, and he has an incredible legacy. What he did with his life is exemplary, and we'll remember him in that light.
Speaking of his legacy, there's been a lot of talk about how media and journalists have handled this tragedy. I even went viral for my take. How do you think the whole thing has been handled, and what are your thoughts?
Well, it's just too much of a shock to put into perspective. That's the thing. It's just a tremendous waste and senseless loss.
Right. Well, I'm from New York, and I lived in Washington Heights for years, near where you grew up. I know that also has ties to George Washington. So can you tell me the story about what inspired you to produce this History Channel documentary, Black Patriots, Heroes of the Revolution?
Well, if you know, Washington Heights is named that because that's where he made his last stand before he got chased to Valley Forge. Or I used to find musket balls and bottles and arrowheads and stuff on the hillsides in Washington Heights after it rained.
Now, why do you think many of the contributions of Black patriots have been overlooked? I know that I didn't learn a lot about this growing up in school. Why do you think these stories weren't told?
The main reason these stories weren't told is because they related to people who were not allowed to fully participate in the American democracy. So talking about them doesn't really add up with what you see in the statements made by Jefferson and Washington and Hamilton and all of the founding fathers. So it's kind of embarrassing to talk about freedom, justice, and equality when you're dealing with people who were not treated in that manner.
And well before Colin Kaepernick, you used your platform as an athlete to make political statements. What do you want to say to people who say you should keep politics out of sports?
As an athlete, I'm going to talk about the things that make sense to me. As a Black American, I'm going to talk about the things that make sense to me.
I took away so much from the documentary. I'm so happy you shared it. Can you tell me what you hope everyone else takes away from it?
I hope that people get an idea that Black Americans made significant contributions to the establishment of our country, and that this is our country too. We paid for it in blood and sacrifice, and I think everybody has to acknowledge that.
Thank you so much, NBA legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Thank you for sharing with us and joining us during Black History Month. We salute you. Thank you.
My pleasure, Lindsay. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too.
Black Patriots, Heroes of the Revolution premieres tonight on the History Channel. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Hey Beauty Blasters, it's Wednesday and that means we're talking some beauty gossip. Yes, queen. Now I have all of the hottest beauty tips, tricks, and some of the gossip that's going on in Hollywood, so let's get started now. Now, first up that's happening lately is John Legend released a song about skincare. Can you believe it? Because I couldn't. Now, after I remembered who his wife is, Chrissy Teigen, she is amazing. Her skin is beautiful. She's known for fabulous looks. So you have to think, some of that had to rub off on John, right? Well, it rubbed off so much that he had to make a whole song about his love for a certain product called Patera. That's actually the song's name too, Patera. Say it with me, Patera. It's so cute, right? Now this song is about his love for the essence from SK2, a serum, if you may, that helps to hydrate, brighten, and do a little bit of everything for your skin. It's really wonderful. But even on the launch of this song, he even included his good friend, James Corden, to make sure that he had a couple of extra funny bits in the video. Pop Sugar actually met up with John Legend himself and asked what are some of his beauty tips and secrets. So, you know I had to dig up on that and see what all of them were. The first one was to make sure that you have a multi-step skincare routine. Ooh, John Legend, you just won my heart over, honey. This is the truth, guys. You have to have a multi-step skincare routine to make sure that you're really servicing your skin and all the layers that we have. So that's cleansing, exfoliating, a toner, a moisturizer, a little eye cream, a serum. Make sure you got your steps in order and take care of the skin you're in. Now, the second one for him was a big bathroom. I don't think that's just about for everyone. That might not be feasible for everybody, but I do agree that you should have 2 separate spaces for your beauty needs. For his and his, hers and hers, theirs and theirs, whatever it is gonna be, go ahead and have some of that. All right, guys, now for more of his exclusive interview, go check out Pop Sugar's interview. We'll see you next time for Wednesday's Beauty Tea.
Early voting is already underway in Nevada, and there are concerns about chaos surrounding the caucuses. Let's connect the dots. First things first, Nevada is a caucus state, which usually means voters gather in a room, pick their candidate, and if your candidate doesn't get enough support, you choose another one. Now you may be asking how you can do early voting for a caucus. In Nevada, voters are being asked to rank their choices. Originally, Nevada was going to use apps designed by the same company that developed the one used in Iowa. After the chaos there, Nevada Democratic officials scrapped that plan. Now, on the day of the actual caucus, administrators will access the early voting data and apply those choices to that caucus. But according to the Washington Post, there is a lot of confusion about how that will actually work, with both campaigns and volunteers sounding the alarm. The caucuses happen on Saturday. We'll find out if those concerns are warranted. Connecting the dots, I'm Marcelino Benito for H-Town Rush.
Today's Sandals word of the day is trunks.
Welcome back to DBL. Do you guys need a good night's rest? Get out of my ear, Arash. Try sleeping with your partner's shirt. We're chatting about
trunks.
it in today's Rise and Thrive, sponsored by So Clean. The whole booth is having a conversation. I'm trying to read this thing. It's hard enough. In a new study, participants received 2 identical T-shirts to use as pillowcases. One had their partner's scent on it. The other was clean or worn by a stranger. Those who slept with their partner's pillowcase got a better night's rest because your significant other brings a sense of safety and reduced stress. For more ways to rest easy, that was a good tip. Go to SoClean.com or call 800-731-1648.
I like this. This makes sense to me.
Oh, it makes sense to me. Right, I say everyone. I've spoken about it on Access a few times. I'm a fan of smelling an armpit once in a while. I love pheromones. They're sexy. Women like pheromones. That's what attracts you to a man, and vice versa.
Well,
so I'm in for sleeping on a T-shirt that smells of my boyfriend.
You want to smell Al's armpit?
Yeah,
No, that might be bad.
try it.
Here, get some of the good. How is it? Are you okay?
I can just get in a whiff of aftershave. I'm not getting pure pheromone.
Now I'm all uncomfy.
I think everybody is. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Happy Hump Day.